going on, guys? It's Brody here from Yocaher Skateboards. Today we are going to be doing an in-depth skateboard setup. If you are not new to skateboarding and you know how to set up a skateboard, this video is definitely not for you. This is for beginners who are looking to find the specifics of how to set up their skateboard. We are going to be providing timestamps for you, so if there's a particular aspect of setting up your skateboard that you're looking for, you can skip right to that in the video. Before we get into setting up your skateboard, let's take a look at all the materials you're going to need, which are available on our website. Okay, so to set up your skateboard, the materials you're going to need are obviously a skateboard, some grip tape, you're going to need 2 trucks. To go along with your trucks, you're going to need 4 lug nuts for your trucks. You're going to need 4 wheels, 8 bearings, 2 riser pads, 8 lug nuts for your trucks, and 8 screws for your trucks. To go along with that don't involve actually building the skateboard, you're going to need a skate tool, a cutting tool, something to cut your grip tape with, either an X-Acto knife, a blade like this, something that can slice through your grip tape. And then usually we'll use a tool to poke the holes in your grip tape for the screws, and also to rub the grip tape and to get it a nice and clean cut. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is put on your grip tape. Today we have our premium Black Widow 88 grip tape. We're going to put that on right now. You're going to want to peel the backing of the grip tape off. You're going to want to make sure it's even on all sides. You know, there's no overhang on the skateboard on any side. You're going to want to kind of line it up in the middle. Start at the middle and press your way out. Trying to make sure that there's no air bubbles caught up in there. Air bubbles aren't a big deal because we can get rid of them afterwards, but it's always good to get as least air bubbles as possible. So that looks pretty good. Then you're going to want to take something really hard. Usually we use like a piece of metal, or you can use your truck. I'll use the truck just to show you guys. So you're going to take it and scrape the edges of the skateboard. Actually, one thing you can do to make it a little bit easier on yourself is on the concave of the skateboard where it turns up, is cut a little bit on the concaves. You want to make sure on the curved part of the board you get a nice hard scrape on there, because you want it to stick on there really well. Alright, so you're going to want to take your cutting tool, whether that's an X-Acto knife or a regular blade, and go from the bottom of the board at the base of where you scratched it, and you're just going to want to cut along the seam. Kids, I'd recommend your parents doing it if you don't feel safe doing it, because you can cut yourself. But you're just going to want to go along the seam of the line that you basically drew around the skateboard. Don't be afraid to mess up. It's not going to be perfect. Spin the board around. What a lot of people like to do is take a little bit of their grip tape and just smooth out the edges, make sure it's all stuck on to the edges. Nice. Now you are gripped up and ready to put in your trucks. So before we get into putting your trucks on, I want to explain the difference between the back of your board and the front of your board. So a lot of people don't notice that the back of your board is actually different than the front of your board. People think it's symmetrical, but actually the front of your board, the nose of your board, will have a slightly steeper concave to it, if you can see, compared to the back of the board. If you lay it flat, you'll be able to see a little bit better that they're not identical, and it does make a difference when you're skating. So just pay attention to what is the front and the back of your board. Now that we've got our grip tape put on there, we're going to want to take our poking tool, stab holes in the grip tape to make it easier for us to put our screws in. And then we are going to want to take our truck screws, take 4 of them, shove them right in there. Then we are going to take our riser pad. We're going to put this on there with the double-sided holes facing outwards, the skateboard. We're going to take our first truck, slide it right on there, and take our smaller lug nuts, screw those on. You can start by just screwing all 4 on by hand, and then we're going to take our skate tool and screw them on there tight. Okay, so now we've got them semi-screwed on there. So now we're going to take our skate tool, which has a screwdriver that pops out the back. And you're going to take the skate tool side, put it on the lug nut, the screwdriver side, put it on the screwdriver side, and just turn one of them and use the other for stability. So I'm not turning the screwdriver, I'm just turning the skate tool. Lefty loosey, righty tighty, obviously. All right, once you have all 4 screwed on, your truck is fully on there and your forearms are ripped. What you're gonna wanna look for is the screw kind of being flush with the board. If it's too far in there, you'll notice like it'll go past the grip tape, which isn't very good, and you don't want it to be sticking out because it can affect the way you ride your board. So flush with the grip tape. And then you are just gonna repeat the process on the other side of the board for your other truck. All right, so at this point, your board should look just like this. All 8 screws flush with the grip tape, and now it's time for the wheels. All right, so next we are gonna be setting up your wheels. So to start with, we're gonna need to put bearings inside the wheels. So if you're a young kid, you might need your mom or dad to help you with this because you do need to apply some good pressure on these. So what you're gonna do is take 1 bearing on one side of the skateboard, or I'm sorry, on the side of the wheel. Push it in like that, slide it on the truck, and then push down so the bearing goes all the way in to the wheel. You see how it's deep in there now instead of just on the surface? So then you're gonna do the same thing for the other side. You're gonna take this little bearing spacer, slide that in there. Take another bearing, try and push it as far in as you can, and then stick it on the truck and push it down. So now it's deep in there. And what you'll notice is that on the face of the wheel, you'll see that the bearing goes in deeper than on the back of the wheel, and that's just the way usually skateboard wheels are set up. So you're going to repeat that process 4 times, and then you will be ready to put the wheels on the skateboard. All right, we've got our grip tape on, we've got our trucks on, we've got our bearings in the wheels. Our last step is to put our wheels on the skateboard. Okay, so pretty simply, you're just gonna put your wheel on the truck. Usually, it doesn't really matter what side you put it on, but a lot of people like to put the graphic side on the outside so you can see it. So you put your wheel on the truck, and take your bigger lug nut, screw it on there. Take the mid-size portion of the skate tool, tighten it. Not too tight, not too loose. You want to make sure your wheel still has a good spin. Maybe a little tight. You can do a little shake test. You don't want this to be moving around too much, so we'll do a little turn. That one's pretty good. All right, repeat the process 4 times. And the last final step is to check your trucks, the tightness of your trucks, see if it's comfortable for you. So take your skate tool, you're just gonna wanna either tighten the bushing or loosen, however you feel is comfortable when you're riding. You're gonna wanna stand on the board and test it out to see if it's tight or loose enough for you. If you've got that and it feels comfortable for you, then you're ready to ride. So here's a few more tips that I think would be helpful. The first tip is choosing the size of your skateboard deck. When choosing your skateboard deck, you want to make sure that it's a size that's comfortable for you. So our boards come in sizes 7.75, 8.0, 8.25, and 8.5 inch. When choosing the size of your skateboard, you're going to want to find something that's comfortable for you. So you might want to try some different sizes out. But overall, the bigger sizes are usually better for landing tricks because your feet have a bigger area to land on. And the smaller boards are usually better for kids or for doing really fast flip tricks. The second tip is getting rid of the bubbles in your grip tape. So when you put your grip tape on, if you notice some bubbles popping up, don't worry. It's pretty easy. Just take the cutting tool that you use to cut your grip tape or a knife or even a screwdriver, and you can usually just pop the bubbles in your grip tape and smooth them out and you'll be good to go. Number 3 is don't lose your speed rings. So when you take your wheel off your truck, you'll notice that there's these 2 little washers that come off your truck as well, and these are your speed rings. They allow the bearings to last longer because there's not as much wear and friction on your bearings, and they just allow for a smoother ride. So you're gonna wanna put one speed ring over the truck, then your wheel, then your other speed ring, and then screw your lug nut on, and you are good to go. So the last extra tip that I have for you guys might be kind of obvious, but if you've never skated before, this is super important, and it is putting your truck on the right way. So when you put your truck on, you want to make sure that the curved part of the truck with the bushing is pointing towards the inside of the board, with the flat part of the truck pointing towards either the nose or the tail, depending on which side you're on. So just making sure your trucks are set up right and you're good to go. Thanks so much for watching. If you followed all the steps, your board should look a lot like this and you are ready to ride. We have all of our Yocaher products on our website. The link is in the description. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and thank you for riding with us.